Shalom everyone, this is Kazakh Eliyahu Yasharal and welcome to another of our videos. As you can see the title here, Mingling of the Seed of Yasharal and the Ministry of Reconciliation, and a very strange topic. I know people might be scratching their heads and wondering what this is about, but we're going to look into this as we continue our look into the mingling of the seed of Yasharal as the Most High continues to lay it on our hearts as to the truth and the importance of this, because essentially the Most High is trying in his end time through his mercy and his favor to show us the way to righteousness, to show us sanctification, to show us the things that can and will enable us to enter into his kingdom, and that will be hindrances. These were not laid out to us. Most of us, we thought that this was a free-for-all, do as thou wilt. But that is not the way of the Most High, as we are going to see. Now, the first thing we do is to look at the sin, because to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, there is no light in them. But before we do that, we look at the ministry of reconciliation. 2 Corinthians 5 verse 19 tells us that Alua was in Hamashiach reconciling the world unto himself. Now, what does this have to do with the mingling of the seed of Yasharal? We're going to see what reconciling the world unto himself has to do with the seed. What does the word say? You can tune in to Kazakh Eliyahu on justthewordradio.com each weekday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for Rising with Truth. So let us continue on our look into this topic by looking to the book of Leviticus 19:19 to remind us as to the true way. And in Leviticus 19:19, we are told, "Ye shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed, neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon you." So upon thee. So the Most High is telling us that we must not mingle cattle, not even the seeds of the field, nor the garment that comes upon you. So the question is, those of us who are going according to the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law, what does that say for us as people who are mingling seed? And that answer is given to us in Exodus 34:15-16. Remember, we're laying the foundation before we begin. So if you've heard this before, it will just be for a little while. Exodus 34:15-16. "Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice, and thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a whoring after their gods." No mixing of the seeds with the heathen. And that is more profound in the book of Yabalim, the book of Jubilees, chapter 11. "And if there is any man who wishes in Yasharal to give his daughter or his sister to any man who is of the seed of the Gentiles, he shall surely die. And they shall stone him with stones, for he has wrought shame in Yasharal. And they shall burn the woman with fire, because she has dishonored the name of the house of her father, and she shall be rooted out of Yasharal. And let not an adulteress and no uncleanness be found in Yasharal throughout all the days of the generations of the earth. For Yasharal is Kodesh. Yasharal is holy unto Yahuwah, and every man who has defiled it shall surely die. They shall stone him with stones." So Yasharal is holy. It is set apart. And this is what we're speaking about when we speak about the mingling of the seed. It is the holy seed. It shall not be profaned. Verse 9. For thus has it been ordained and written in the heavenly tablets regarding all the seed of Yasharal. All the seed of Yasharal. Let me mark it. Regarding all the seed of Yasharal. He who defiles it shall surely die, and he shall be stoned with stones. And to this Torah there is no limit of days, and no remission, nor any atonement. But the man who has defiled his daughter shall be rooted out in the midst of all Yasharal, because he has given of his seed to Moloch, and wrought impiously so as to defile it. So it is telling us no giving of the sons to the daughters, nor the daughters to the sons. That should not happen anytime at all in Yasharal, because if man who has given his daughter, it is as if he has given his seed to Moloch. And now here is the very profound verse. And do you, Moshe, command the children of Yasharal, and exhort them not to give their daughters to the Gentiles, and not to take for their sons of any of the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is abominable before Yahuwah. It is an abomination before Yahuwah. Just bear that in mind. And this word abominable is an adjective, and the noun is abomination. Okay? Abominable, the adjective, and the noun is abomination. And we're going to look more at it because we have been reprimanded and say how can we say that the marriage is abominable? That is what the word says. It is abominable, and it is therefore an abomination. So what does this have to do with the ministry of reconciliation? 2 Corinthians 5:17 to... You can tune in to Kazak Eliyahu on justthewordradio.com each weekday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for Rising with Truth. Let's go, 2 Corinthians 5. Therefore, if any man be in Hamashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. Old things are passed away. All things are become new, a new creature. So when one is in Hamashiach, one has to be willing to throw away all the old things. And that brings to mind Philippians 3 verses 12 to 14. Not as though I had already attained, either were already perfect, but I follow after, if that I may apprehend that for which also I am apprehended of Hamashiach. Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth unto those things which are before, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of Yahuwah in Hamashiach Yahusha. So, in the earlier verses here, Shaul was telling us about how he could boast about himself in the flesh. And he said in verse 8, Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Hamashiach Yahusha, my master, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Hamashiach, and be found in him, not having mine own righteousness which is of the law, but that which is through the emunah of Hamashiach, the righteousness which is of Yahuwah by emunah or faith. So this righteousness now is what we're going to look at in 2 Corinthians 5:17 to 21. All right? So if any man be in Hamashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. And all things are of Yahuwah, who hath reconciled us to himself by Yahusha HaMashiach, and hath given to us the ministry of reconciliation. So to be reconciled to Yahuwah, verse 18, to be reconciled, it comes from the Greek word katalage, which means to exchange figuratively, adjustment. That is restoration to the divine favor. Atonement, reconciliation. So reconciliation is actually a restoration to the perfect will of Yahuwah. A restoration to the divine will or the perfect will to Alua. It says an adjustment. So, when you are reconciled unto Yahuwah, you will make an adjustment that will restore you to the divine purpose, the divine order, the divine will of the Most High, which essentially means you will be walking in perfect obedience to His commandments. You will be walking without spot and wrinkle. And in John 17, 20 to 23, we see how He does it. Let's see how He reconciles us through Yahusha HaMashiach. HaMashiach was praying to the Father, and He said, "Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word, that they all may be one, as thou, Father, art in me." Remember, Yahuwah was in Yahusha reconciling the world unto Himself. So let's see how He does it. The Father in Him. "As thou, Father, art in me, and I in thee, that they also may be one in us, that the world may believe that thou hast sent me." So that is it. HaMashiach in Yahuwah in HaMashiach and HaMashiach in us. And that, of course, is through Ruach HaKadosh, the Holy Spirit. "And the splendor which thou gavest me, I have given them, that they may be one, even as we are one. I in them, and thou in me." That is how the Most High reconciles us unto Himself. He is in Yahushua HaMashiach. Yahushua HaMashiach is in us. Yahushua HaMashiach walks according to His perfect order. We are now brought back to the perfect order, to His true divine favor, through His perfect will, in obedience to His commandments. "I in them, and thou in me, that they may be made perfect in one, and that the world may know that thou hast sent me, and hast loved me, as thou hast loved them." Okay? And let's see a little bit more about the reconciliation there for Colossians 1, 21 to 23. "And thou that were sometime alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now hath He reconciled." We're going to see the result of His reconciliation. So we were at sometime alienated and enemies by wicked works. Wicked works, of course, is transgressing His commandments. "Yet now hath He reconciled," and yet now hath He brought you back to His divine, or His, I need a word for that, divine, to His perfect will. All right, so you no longer work the wicked works. "In the body of His flesh through death, to present you set apart, holy," let me use their word, "and unblameable and unreprovable in His sight." So when you are reconciled, let's go back to this word reconciled. "Yet now hath He reconciled." And when He has reconciled us through His flesh, through HaMashiach, we are now presented holy and unblameable and unreprovable in His sight. Unblameable means no one can look to you and say you're breaking Torah. You are transgressing the law. All right? And no one will be looking to reprove you. All right? If you are mingling the seed of Yahuwah, you are not unblameable. You are not holy. You are not unreprovable. "If ye continue in the emunah, grounded and settled, and be not moved away from the hope of the good news, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, whereof I, Yasharal, am a minister." So, our emunah should not move us away from the hope of the good news, which ye have heard, and which was preached to every creature which is under heaven, whereof I, Yasharal, am made a minister. And if we go to the gospel in Isaiah 61, we see where it pertains to the seed. Yeah? Verse 9, "And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which Yahuwah hath barak." This is the gospel that it is brought, we are to be brought back to, that there will be a separate seed that will be known among the Gentiles. The Gentiles will be the Gentiles, and the seed of Yasharal will be the seed of Yasharal. And their offspring shall be known among the people, their offspring, their children shall be known. The Gentiles shall see their offspring and know that this is the seed, this is the nation which Yahuwah hath barak. So when we are reconciled, then we will fulfill this, which means we will not go and be mingling our seed. Okay? So let's look at reconciliation and our gathering together. Ezekiel 11, 17 to 21. Now, what are we saying here? When we are gathered, our seed must not be mingled. All right? When we are gathered, our seed must not be mingled. Because, let's see what happens when we are gathered. Therefore, say, thus saith Yahuwah Eluah, I will even gather you from the people, and assemble you out of the countries where ye have been scattered, and I will give you the land of Yasharal. This is the process that we are in right now. And they shall come thither, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from thence. You seeing that? When we are being gathered, we are going to take away all the detestable things. And all the abominations we're going to take away from ourselves. Now, what abomination did we say earlier? If we go back to the book of Jubilees, verse 11. And do thou, Moshe, command the children of Yasharal and exhort them not to give their daughters to the Gentiles, and not to take for their sons any of the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is abominable before Yahuwah. Now go back again now to where we were before. Ezekiel 11:18, when we are gathered, it says, they shall come thither, and they shall take away all the detestable things thereof, and all the abominations thereof from thence. And we just saw that it is an abomination to give our daughters to their sons and our sons to their daughters. So we would, in our gathering, have to take this away from among us. Yes? And I will give them one heart, and I will put a new rock within you, and I will take away the stony heart out of their flesh, and I will give them an heart of flesh. And why do they need a heart of flesh? Let's see. That they may walk in my statutes, and keep my ordinances, and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Eluah. So, that is why we are given this rock. For us to walk in his statutes and his ordinances. And his statutes and his ordinances say you must not give your daughters to their sons and their sons to their daughters. There is nothing that says in the new covenant you will be transgressing and doing what you feel like doing and mingling seed contrary to his commandment. So what about those in the new covenant? This is talking about when we are gathered, people. Verse 21 says, but as for them whose heart walk after the heart of their detestable things and their abominations, I will recompense their way upon their heads, saith Yahuwah Eluah. You see this, people? The new covenant, when we are gathering, we are supposed to throw away all the detestable things and the abominations, and walk in his statutes and keep his ordinances and do them. And his statutes and his ordinances says, do not mingle your seed with another nation. And it says here now, furthermore, if you continue to walk after the heart of your detestable things and your abominations, he's going to recompense your way upon your head. Don't you see how serious this thing is? So when it speaks about this being abominable before Yahuwah, as I said earlier, let us look at the meaning of the word abominable or abomination. Abomination is something regarded with disgust or hatred, something abominable. So abomination is the noun for abominable. So it is something regarded with disgust or hatred. So the Most High, therefore, regards it with disgust and hatred. So if he regards it with disgust and hatred, are you saying that the Most High changed? when he said in the new covenant you will be keeping his statutes and his ordinances. No, he did not change. It is we who want it to change. All right? So we take the distorted line of rebelling against the Most High. So the Most High considers it with extreme disgust and hatred for mingling the seed of the children of Yasharal. Now, let's go and show that the ruach that we are given in the new covenant is to get us to obey. Which is what we just looked at. That they may walk in my statutes and keep my ordinances and do them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Alua. So, all right, shalom. Well, guess what happened? We had a power cut, and the last part of the video that I recorded did not come with any sound, as the sound was dependent on the power, and I didn't realize it, and I finished the video thinking that everything was good. But here we go as we continue with our video. All right, so just a reminder, you can tune in to Kazakh Eliyahu on justthewordradio.com each weekday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for Rising with Truth. Whenever we are awakened to the Most High, we have to return and be reconciled back unto Him. And we have been using this another verse right through our teaching, the book of Ezra, chapter 9, verses 2 to 3. We have been using it throughout, but we want you to look at something here. Whenever we are in transgression and we turn to the Most High, our repentance must be reconciliation. We must go back and undo everything. Now, in the book of Ezra 9, 2 to 3, this was when the children of Yasharal were in captivity. This was when they were in captivity and they awakened to the law and realized what the law was saying. And what did they do? They cried and repented and undo what they have done. It is the same thing for us now. We are in an awakening in the end time before we are delivered. We must return and be reconciled unto Him and take away all the detestable things and the abomination. As it says in Ezra 9 verse 2, for they have taken of their daughters for themselves and for their sons, so that the holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yea, the hand of the princes and rulers have been chief in this regard. And in 1 Ezra 8 verse 92, we go back to the same situation to see what was done there. Then Jechonias, the son of Elias, one of the sons of Yasharal, called out and said, O Esdras, this is the same Ezra, right? We have sinned against Yahuwah Alua. We have married strange women of the nations of the land, and now is all Israel aloft. Let us make an oath to Yahuwah, that we will put away all our wives which we have taken of the heathen with their children. Like as thou hast decreed, and as many as do obey the law of Yahuwah. So there we have again an awakening coming back to the law. What did they do? They chose to undo what was done. That is being reconciled. That is the ministry of reconciliation. Be turned back away from the abomination of the nations around you. And that is why another of the verses that we keep using, that is why in Isaiah 6, 11 to 13, it tells us about the holy seed. The holy seed returning to the land. Yes? Verse 13 says, but yet in it shall be a tenth, and it shall return, and shall be eaten as a tale tree and as an oak, whose substance is in them when they cast their leaves. So the holy seed shall be the substance thereof. The holy seed shall be the substance, shall be the pillar in that which is to come. So in this reconciliation now, what is important is the Most High winked at our ignorance. But now, when we come to the acknowledgement and understanding of the truth, He commands us to repent. And if we hear the truth and we continue in the lie, we do not act on the truth, then we are considered to be sinning willfully. So Hebrews 10:26-27 says, "For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins, but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation which shall devour the adversaries." But what is the effective result of us sinning willfully after we have received the knowledge of the truth in the new covenant? So when this word comes to us that this is wrong, and we continue, nope, this is not how I see it. Nope. What does it say? Verse 28, "He that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses. Of how much sorer punishment, suppose ye, shall he be thought worthy, who hath trodden underfoot the son of Alua, and hath counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified an unholy thing, and hath done despite unto the rock of grace, of favor?" Now, what is this saying there? "We are reconciled unto Yahuwah through Yahusha." When the word comes to us through the Ruach, when the word comes to us, when the word of truth comes to us, and we reject it, it is the equivalent of blaspheming Ruach HaKadosh, doing despite unto the Ruach of favor, trampling on the finished work of Hamashiach, taking his work and his sacrifice for granted. So, when we are reconciled back unto Alua, then we have attained unto perfection, reaching to the point in Revelation 14:12, where it tells us this: "Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Alua and the emunah of Yahusha." They that keep the commandments of Alua, when you are reconciled back to Yahuwah, you will keep his commandments, because the ministry of reconciliation will bring you back to Ezekiel 11, where you keep his statutes and his ordinances and his judgments. You walk in them and you will do them. And that is why in Revelation 22:14, it again tells us there is no entering the kingdom with our abominations, none whatsoever. And that is why Revelation 22:14 tells us, "Barak are they that do his commandments." Barak are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter through the gates into the city. For without or outside are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. So whenever we are reconciled back unto Alua, we will do his commandments, and we will not love or make a lie. So being reconciled is being brought back to perfection, in perfect synchronicity with his commandments and his statutes. When we are brought back to reconciliation unto Yahuwah, we will do his perfect will and we will walk out his commandments. We will not end up in the end being blamed or being reproachable, where people can look at us and say, "Hey, how can you say you're a believer and you're doing this?" Right? We will be blameless. We will be walking in perfect synergy with his commandments. And that is the way we must go. And so this is how we end this: the mingling of the seed of Yasharal and the ministry of reconciliation. Being reconciled back unto Yahuwah will and should bring us back into perfect obedience to his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. And so we should not be mingling the seed of Yasharal in the end. Just as in the book of Ezra, when they were reconciled back unto Yahuwah, when they came and they saw the law, what did they do? They undid all the evil that were done. They were so remorseful. They undid all the evil that they were done. So I am telling you, a lot of people here are going to be surprised. People telling us, "Oh, we spoke to Yahuwah, and Yahuwah gave us the go-ahead with our mixed marriage." That is the Most High will let us believe a lie if we refuse to believe his truth. It is the truth that saves us, people. And so we have to go after the truth. All right? The truth trumps all things. So we can be given a lie. The Christians will tell you that the Most High has shown them over and over again that what they are doing is true. And you and I know that Christianity is a false religion. It is a lie. All right? Let us seek the truth, people. Precept upon precept. As it says in Isaiah 28. Let's get it. It says, whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? Them that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. So, he gives us the precepts so we can understand doctrine and understand knowledge. But in verse 12, it tells you, to whom he said, this is the rest wherewith we may cause the weary to rest, and this is the refreshing, yet they would not hear. So when he comes with his word of correction, his words of reconciliation, and you do not want to hear, then the same precepts are going to destroy you. But the word of Yahuwah was unto them. These are the people now who will not hear. Those who will hear, it will let them understand knowledge, doctrine, and grow in knowledge. But those who will not hear, but the word of Yahuwah was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. The Most High presents us two scenarios each time, people. Two scenarios. And let's go quickly to the book of Matthew. I did not plan this, but we have to say this. In the book of Matthew, he gives us two scenarios each time. And those scenarios is Matthew 13:10. And the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of Shamaim, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away, even that he hath. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. So because they have no interest in the truth, they don't want to see, they don't want to hear, they don't want to understand, the Most High, the Messiah rather, speaks to them in parables so that they cannot be converted, as it says in verse 15, for this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their ears they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. So those people who do not want to hear the truth or seek the truth, you are going to be made to believe a lie. So, what is the point? Seek out the truth at all times. Seek out the truth, because in the truth brings out the lies. The truth brings out the truth and shows up the lies. All right? So, this is Kazak Aliyahu Yasharal as we are continuing in our series of short videos. Thank you for watching. And please like, share, subscribe, and comment if you will as we continue with our videos. All right? Be ye reconciled back unto Yahuwah. Turn back away from all the abominations and the detestable things, or else he says he's going to recompense our ways upon our head. All right? Shalom, everyone. Shalom.